Oh, great.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today is a special day. It's bittersweet. It is 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ Early Access, and I do have a crazy deck for you today, but we also found out that Val Kilmer died this morning, and I'm pretty distraught about that because he's one of my childhood heroes. Him as Madmartigan in Willow is absolutely amazing. So what better way than to honor him than with our very first deck out of Tarkir Dragonstorm Early Access. This one's called Madmartigan Lives. Those of you might remember, if you've been watching the channel for a while, that back when Foundations came out, we made a deck called Madmartigan that was Mardu humans, and it was absolutely nuts. It's one of my kind of pet decks, and it has a big place in my heart. So it's kind of perfect that we can bring this deck back, use the new Mardu humans that are coming out of Tarkir Dragonstorm, but also crank it up to 11 by going 4-color and using some of the Abzan humans as well to make this deck just as absolutely insane as we can. So this one is Madmartigan Lives. This one's for Val Kilmer. Before we dig in, please like the video. It helps me get it out to so many more people and helps the channel grow. Also subscribe because I have a ton of crazy content on the way. Ton of crazy deck techs hitting every single day from this point on from Tarkir Dragonstorm Early Access. And if you guys think you know what's coming out of Tarkir Dragonstorm, you ain't seen nothing because I have some crazy, ridiculous ideas on the way. That being said, let's dive into the deck. This is for Val. Alright, so this deck is called Madmartigan Lives, and we are resurrecting a deck from Foundations Early Access called Madmartigan, which is very near and dear to my heart, and we're giving it another go with some brand new cards out of Tarkir Dragonstorm. This one's in memory of Val Kilmer. We love you, buddy. So let's do it. First of all, we have Alesha, who laughs at fate. 3 mana, 2/2 first striker, and she has this raid ability, so at the beginning of our end step, if we attacked, we get to return any creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from our graveyard to the battlefield. Everything in this deck kind of hinges on synergies with Alesha. Most of the time, we want to try to bring back Jarina over and over and over again so that we constantly have her ability held up to protect our entire board by sacrificing her. And then it doesn't matter if we sacrifice her because we just bring her back again with Alesha so that she can keep protecting Alesha as well as the whole board, rinse and repeat, and our opponent can never really get rid of our stuff, which is already kind of awesome. But now we have some new cards in the mix that are absolutely bananas. First of all, we've got 3 copies of 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ Dawn of the Abzan, a 3/3 legendary human warrior with trample for 3 mana in the colors of Abzan. We have upgraded the deck to 4 colors to make room for some of these crazy Abzan cards, and it is absolutely worth it in my opinion. It's also super easy to do since we're human tribal and we have stuff like Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyard. But this creature in particular is a 3/3 trampler for 3. When it enters or attacks, you can sacrifice a non-land permanent to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. It's super easy to do that in this deck because everything that we sacrifice will just come back with Alesha anyway, so we could just build insane board states. In fact, because we get to put an extra +1/+1 counter on Alesha, a lot of times we can get back something even better, even more expensive with Alesha earlier than we otherwise would be able to. She doesn't even necessarily need to attack in to get a counter to bring back a 3-drop. 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ could give her the counter so that she can bring back a 3-drop immediately. So really cool synergies there. And then we've also got 1 copy of Sirach Elusive Hunter, a 4/3 legendary human warrior for 1 green and 2, has trample. It can't be countered, so it's really good against blue. But then also whenever a creature you control or a creature spell you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you get to draw a card. So if those blue decks are trying to counterspell all of the things that you're playing, not only do we already have Cavern of Souls anyway, but now we also have Sirach to just draw us cards every time they try to counter something. And even if they don't try to counter stuff, if they're just trying to use removal on our stuff in play, we're just drawing cards every single time. And then we're probably just bringing that stuff back with Alesha anyway, or protecting it with Jirina. So it gets kind of insane. It's just sort of free card advantage, and our opponent just never wants to use their removal, which seems awesome. And then we've also got 2 copies of Yathen Roadwatcher, a 3/3 human scout for 4 mana in the colors of Abzan. When this creature enters, if you cast it, you mill 4, and then you return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is good in so many different ways. Not only can we get back our Alesha if they happen to find a way to kill it earlier, but since we're milling cards, we can actually put stuff in our graveyard to get back with Alesha when we don't really have any options for good creatures to get back with Alesha. If we're out of stuff and our Alesha's ability is just going to be wasted, Yathen can kind of fill up the graveyard, give us card selection for what we want to bring back with Alesha, which seems super awesome. We've also got 1 copy of Thalia and the Gitrog monster, because this is another way to sacrifice some of our stuff whenever Thalia and the Gitrog monster attacks, knowing that we're just going to bring it back with Alesha anyways. But Alesha is not the only thing bringing stuff back. Sometimes Alesha will die. We already talked about Yathen Roadwatcher, which can bring back the Alesha or anything else pretty much in the deck other than Thalia and the Gitrog monster. But we're also running 3 copies of Honest Rutstein. Not only can this bring back our Alesha, or get back, you know, our Yathen Roadwatcher, or our Felithar, can do crazy cycle loops with the Roadwatcher, do a lot of crazy stuff, but it also gives us cost reduction on all of our creatures. So everything starts to come out even cheaper and get us even more value, which seems insane. So all of the ways that we have to get stuff back from the graveyard in this, they just kind of cross-synergize with each other and get each other back, and set us up with a situation where our opponent can never get rid of our stuff forever, and we just keep getting it all back, and it gets kind of insane. Starting at the bottom of the curve, we'll talk about the rest of what we're playing. So we've got 1 Kellen Trailblazer, because he is a human, and he's just really good value for a 1-drop. Sometimes he can take over the game all by himself if our opponent doesn't have blockers and they don't have removal for him. So we are going to run 1 copy. We're running 4 Veteran Survivors, because it's basically a Savannah Lion that lets us exile stuff from our opponent's graveyard for free, and since there are so many graveyard shenanigans running around, not only in this set with all of the new graveyard synergies that came in Tarkir Dragonstorm, but also Omniscience decks are everywhere. There's a ton of graveyard support right now, so just having incidental ways to exile graveyard built into our deck on a 2/1 for 1 seems really, really good. If we happen to exile 3 or more, it even becomes a 5/4 with hexproof, so it gets really crazy. We're also running 1 Skrelv, the only creature in the deck that's not a human. But since we are running a couple of Plaza of Heroes, and our main color outside outside of humans is white, we can actually afford to run 1 copy of Skrelv, and it's just another card that helps protect our board and make it really hard for our opponent to get rid of our stuff. And then we've got 2 copies of Recruitment Officer, just to round out having 8 1-drops to make sure we're always playing 1-on-1, because one of the strengths of a deck like this is, even though it's 4 colors, all of the lands come into play untapped. The only lands that come into play tapped are our fast lands, and they don't come into play tapped until they're the 4th land or later, which by the time we hit our 4th land, most of the time it doesn't matter. We just have so much cheap stuff that we don't necessarily need our 4th land to come in untapped, and even if we do, a lot of times we can make sure to get that fast land out on turn 3 and have something like a Cavern of Souls or Secluded Courtyard or whatever that we can jam on turn 4 to have that untapped land. So that's really good too. We've got 8 1-drops because of that, 2 of them being these Recruitment Officers, because they do give us a way to mana sink and find even more creatures later on in the game. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, we already talked about the most important 2-drop, Jirina, so that we can just keep cycling it and our opponent can never get rid of our board. We can also just get rid of our opponent's graveyard every single time. I'm looking at you, Omniscience, Roaming Boss, I'm coming for you. We also have one copy of Inti, Senescal of the Sun. It lets us discard things to get value. Discarding is good in this deck because we can just get that stuff back with Alesha right away. So sometimes we can actually get stuff out earlier than we otherwise would be able to by discarding it to something like Inti, and then just immediately bringing it back at the end of our turn with Alesha. But we also get a +1/+1 counter off of Inti. We get to dig for a card and exile it and play it, so we get card advantage. Just all around really nice. In addition, we have 4 copies of Guardian of New Benalia, which is another way for us to discard cards to get back with Alesha. It's a 2/2 with Enlist for 2. When it enlists, you get to scry 2, and you can discard a card to give it indestructible until end of turn. So it's really, really hard for them to get rid of the Guardian, and it also is a discard outlet so that we always have something to bring back with Alesha, which just seems absolutely insane. And getting to scry when we enlist is also really nice, because we get to make sure we're digging into the cards that we need. And just having something like this that can attack and protect itself by holding up this ability to get indestructible is really important in a deck where you want to make sure you're attacking every single turn so that you can keep triggering Alesha. We've also got 4 copies of Coppercoat Vanguard. This is a must run because this is human tribal, so we'll go as wide as we can with humans and jam this guy. 2/2 gives all of our humans +1/+0 and ward 1, just buffs our board and gives us all of the value that we want. And then for our removal package, we're running 4 Sheltered by Ghosts. Since it's so hard for them to get rid of our creatures, we're going to double down on that, use Sheltered by Ghosts to get rid of their most problematic permanents, while giving us an attack buff and lifelink and an additional ward 2 on top of a potential ward 1 given out by the Coppercoat Vanguard, on top of all of the other ways that we have to protect our creatures. It's just insane, and it gets the job done. Moving on to the 3-drop slots, we already talked about most of the cards. We do have 1 copy of 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿, because if you attack with the, while the 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 is out, you can start to get tokens. You can sacrifice those tokens to your Thalia or to your Felithar, and Felithar will put counters on all of your creatures, putting counters on 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿, making it even bigger so that it spits out even more gnomes, and it gets insane. And again, things that trigger off of you attacking are really, really good in this deck because you have so many ways to protect your ability to attack, or just bring back your thing if they block and kill it with Alesha. The entire deck is kind of built around that, so it all works perfectly. I do want to point out that in the future, I would like to build another deck, not exactly like this, but I want to combine 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 with Felithar, because I realized while playing this how nuts that can be, just sacrificing the gnome tokens to put counters on all of your creatures, including all of your other gnomes, and the 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 so that it spits out even more gnomes. They just have this crazy synergy together, and under most circumstances, I wouldn't think 4 colors would really work, but if you are careful about your creature selection and your card selection, and you can double down on all those tribal lands, I do think you can make 4 color work. So in the future, look forward to another human tribal deck coming, possibly even a 5-color version, but for now, I think this is the end-all, be-all version, at least as far as how I see it right now, of Madmartigan. Madmartigan lives! This is for Val Kilmer. Let's check out the games. This looks pretty good. We're going to try this. Start with the Thicket and the Recruitment Officer. Could have played the Courtyard, but I think whatever we play right now is just going to die to removal anyway. I think I'd rather have the Recruitment Officer die than the 𝐾𝐿, and I think I'd rather hide the fact that we're playing humans if that's the case. Well, I guess we're just going to do this. Get it off the field. Play the 𝐾𝐿. We need to be able to attack to trigger Alesha, so... Ooh, Stillness in Motion. We'll go human. We will attack. Play the Alesha. Although part of me is thinking maybe we should have just played 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 this turn in case he's got more removal. And just held on to the Alesha a bit longer. In hindsight, I think that would have been better. Play the 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿, trigger it, get a token, Puts them in a position where they have to deal with the board state. We get rid of another piece of removal so that Alesha can be safe. But it did work out for us, so I'm not going to complain. Do we want Felithar or do we want 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿? I think we want 𝐴𝐻. Attack with all of those. And then Alesha will bring it back. He is going to get through for a lot of damage, though. No, didn't even go for it. Didn't even go for it. Well, things just got nutty, boys. Things just got nutty. Oh, man. We'll hold back the 𝐴𝐻. Lesh has got first strike. Kills that. Lesh triggers, gets it back. The reason I wanted to not attack with 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 is so that if he kills the Alesha, I have an insane amount of value that I can crack back for the win for. It almost forced him to have to kill the 𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐿 instead of the Alesha, which I sort of like. So, a Felidar. Sack the stillness. Stillness. Seems pretty alright. That's it? You're gonna scoop on me? You're not supposed to scoop in early access. This looks pretty good. We don't have Alesha, but we have a lot of gas. Let's try it out. Duress me? It's not gonna work, man. You're out of luck. More human than human. Can't block. Do you want to just Coppercoat Vanguard? Nah, I think we Guardian. Do you really want to renew? Interesting. Very interesting. Enlist. See what you got, friendo. We've got an Alesha. We'll take that, thank you. Cut down. There will be none of that. No cutting. There will be no cutting. There will be none of that either. Get rid of that removal. Get rid of that removal. Get back Felithar. Because Inti can just come right out of the yard with Alesha next turn. Rot Curse Rakshasa. He's got two of them. They can't block, man. You got vehicles to crew with those things? Guess not. Guess not. Human. More human than human. list. Might have been able to Felithar for the win. If I sacrificed himself, put a counter on everything, it would have been 16 damage. It would have been 16 damage. -2 on everything? Ooh, that's a whole board, bro. That's rough. That is rough. I did not see that coming. Well, let's get rid of that dude in your yard. There will be none of that. There will be none of that. We need some more graveyard shenanigans. Sure. Is he gonna make it decayed? Is he about to use this right now? Because we don't really care if this is decayed. We want to be able to cycle it back and forth anyway. Sheoldred's Edict. Well, Felidar's coming out to play. That's all we got. We're going to hold this in our hand. We shouldn't need it. But if we get another Guardian, or if we get our Guardian back, we might need to pitch it to him. Decayed. Yes, decayed. Haha, duress. Oh, duress. I guess we will play it now. We can't really attack with this, right? No attacks. Not yet. Although now he's going to have the Soulstone Sanctuary, so maybe we should have. Oh, it didn't let me sack it. I forgot about the timing rules. It didn't let me sack it. I should have just attacked with the Felithar. I guess it wouldn't have mattered because he would have just blocked with the Soulstone. Well, at least I would have killed his Soulstone, right? So maybe it would have mattered. Oh, that's a land. Can't eat it with Sheltered. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. Pass the turn, I guess. Doesn't turn this one into a creature. Interesting. Probably are going to have to swing with it this turn. We could sacrifice the Shelter to put a counter on it, but I think we need the life. So I'm going to have to decline. Alright, because we get to kill his dude, I actually think that's the right play. He can only attack us for 7 and we're at 8 if he turns the Soulstone Sanctuary into a creature. And then we've got lifelink. I do think it was the best decision to make in the moment. Veteran Survivor. So what we need to do is sack it so that we have lethal, so that he has to block. Yeah, this is just what we have to do. Attack. Sack you. Counter on the Felithar. He has to block to not die. We go up to enough life to survive a hit from the Regent. This is scary. This is scary. Sacrifice the Sheltered so that we can be a 5/5. So he can't block it and kill our dude. Thalia and the Gitrog. Thalia and the Gitrog. Show me what's what, baby. Ah, there we go. All 3 drops? What is this hand? We got a mulligan. We'll keep this one. Toss back. I guess the Veteran Survivor. Start with Kellen. Does mean we're going to take a turn off. But we can dump some mana into Kellen. Do it like this. Dump you. He'll probably kill something. No, up the beanstalk. Okay. I don't really want to play each of these yet. Either of these. But it looks like we got to. Alright, we'll swing. Play Felithar. Sack Kellen. Buff the boys. End the turn. Sorry, buff the boys and girls. Is Felithar a guy? Now I'm not sure. Huh. You guys will have to let me know in the chat. Brotherhood's End. Alright. Sure. More human than human. If we get back Jarina, we can't play it this turn. Get back Kellen and we can. So I'm gonna hope that was his sweeper and he doesn't have another sweeper. Smack for 5. Man, it really stinks not having our Alesha. We really need Alesha. Hey, speak of the devil. There you are. Give me back that Jarina. Get rid of that graveyard. A recording error? I might have to pull this game off my Twitch. Man, I have the worst luck ever. I really, really do. I'm worried he's gonna, in response to me sacking the Jarina, target the Alesha. Sure. We've got lethal still on the board right here. Because Alesha gets a counter. I don't think he realizes that. I guess it's over. Good night, Mr. Ali Eldrazi. Good night. We are going to keep this, and we're going to run it for Val Kilmer's honor. In Val Kilmer's honor. For Val Kilmer. Otherwise known as Valkymer. Inspiring Vantage. Guardian of New Benalia. Pass the turn. Come on, Saffron. I better draw a new card. There's a card. There's a card. We'll hold up Skrelv. I could have scryed. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. Hedron Archive. Sure. Human. We'll play Thalia. And we'll swing. Getting very close to finally being able to play that Felithar. Chimmel, sure. We're gonna need to get rid of the Chimmel for sure. See what he gets. Maze Mind Tome. Alright. Das Mazy Mind Tome. Well, I guess we'll go like this. Don't know why it used my Cavern though. Also not sure why he's scrying in response. I guess he's got to at some point, so just do it now. We're going to sacrifice the Thicket. Draw a card. Okay, play out the courtyard. We definitely got to play a new card. So I really hope he doesn't scoop here. Ooh, he's got Eugene. Very interesting. Skrelv does not protect against Eugene.
I will mend this broken one. Mana courses through all things.
Didn't choose to exile the Guardian. Oh, didn't have the mana. Okay. Okay. That's fair.
Fate
Gets back the 𝐁𝐫𝐞.
as water.
Sure. Trixie, Trixie. Well, Skrelv is somewhat useless to me now. Oh, God. Discovering with the 𝐁𝐫𝐞 triggers the 𝐿. That's gross. That is gross.
Knowledge is a virtue.
That is so gross. Do 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 do. Discard Felithar. Get a counter on Guardian. You get an Honest Rutstein. There is some good stuff there. I don't know if it's good enough. I probably should have bottomed it looking for a Sheltered by Ghosts. Get rid of another Felithar, I guess. I think we're going to be in rough shape here. He is pretty low on life, though. But man, 𝐁𝐫𝐞 with 𝐿 is bananas. Absolutely bananas. Three life draw card. Iron Crag, goodbye. I don't know why he's not targeting the Guardian, though. It only gets indestructible, not hexproof.
Mine is the power of eons.
And 𝐿's ability exiles. Wicked Bummer, dude. I don't think we're gonna get there, guys. I don't think we're gonna get there. I don't think we're gonna get there.
It's
Yeah, he's just got too much going on now.
Master of this world.
Although I'm not gonna lie, I think 𝐿 is less powerful than I originally thought he was. I'm noticing just how long he has to stay in play for you to be able to take over the game. It's not just like you play him and you win, you know? You need to be able to untap with a bunch of mana and cast a bunch of things before he really, like, takes over the game.
Mine is the power of eons.
Get all of the 𝐿s!
Conflict
Do it!
over.
Do it now!
My resources are equilibrium. Must be restored. Power belongs to the patient.
Do all the things.
I grant
Kill
you
me. Kill me, I'm here. I'm here, kill me.
one step in the strategy. Power
Win this war for me.
to the patient.
Good God. Good God. Alright, we've got Alesha, we've got 𝐽𝐼na, we've even got 𝐸𝑟𝑎𝑐, which seems interesting. Let's keep it. Eric, win this war for me. We will start with a Concealed Courtyard. Not to be confused with Secluded Courtyard. I think we want to hide. No, we'll just do this. We don't want to spend a life in order to hide the fact that we're playing humans. We'll just get 𝐽𝐼na out. If he uses removal on our 𝐽𝐼na, we do have Alesha to get it back later. Although we don't want to really jump the gun on that. I don't think we need to worry about getting the Alesha out super quick. 𝐸𝑟𝑎𝑐 against blue seems pretty good. We'll attack. If he tries to kill the 𝐸𝑟𝑎𝑐, we draw a card off of 𝐸𝑟𝑎𝑐's ability. And we still protect it with 𝐽𝐼na. And then we attack next turn, play Alesha, get the 𝐽𝐼na back to protect the board. So we're in a really, really good position. He can't counterspell our stuff. Well, I mean, he could, but we're going to draw cards. I don't think he's going to have time to board wipe. I mean, this gives indestructible. It would have to be a Sunfall, and I don't even see white. I don't even see white. Nothing? Nothing? I don't trust him. I don't trust him. With the counterspell. We don't need the Alesha until the 𝐽𝐼na's gone. And I'm pretty sure we have one Plains. Oh, we don't anymore. That's a bummer. At one point we had one Plains in this deck. I think when we changed it to 4 colors, we had to drop the Plains. United Battlefront. What a card. What a card. And the ever-flowing well. I think if we sheltered by ghosts, we just win here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we would just win. But it's so much more fun to Alesha, right? Right? Fine. We'll do it your way. We'll do it your way. We'll do it your way. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.